came to Jonah. He said, "Go to the great city of Nineveh and preach against it because of its wickedness." But Jonah ran away from the Lord. He decided to head for Tarshish. He went down to Joppa, where he found a boat that was headed that direction. "May I come aboard?" "Well, we're kind of full. Where are you going?" "I'd like to go to Tarshish because I'm running away from God." "Oh, okay, well, that sounds interesting. Hop aboard." So Jonah paid the fare and he hopped along, and they went sailing towards Tarshish. Then God sent a great wind, and there was a huge storm, and all the sailors were super afraid. Ah! Ah! And so they decided to call out to their own gods, and they said, help us, but nothing helped. And so they tossed all of their stuff overboard to try and lighten the load, but it still wasn't working. But Jonah had gone down below deck, where he lay down and fell into a deep sleep. The captain went to him and said, "How can you be asleep? Get up and call on your God. Maybe he will take notice of us so that we will not die." Then the sailors said to each other, "Come, let's cast lots to find out who is responsible for this calamity." They cast lots, and the lot fell on Jonah. So they asked him, "Tell us, who is responsible for making all this trouble for us? What kind of work do you do? Where do you come from? What is your country? From what people are you?" He answered, "I am a Hebrew, and I worship the Lord, the God of heaven, who made the sea and the dry land." And this terrified them all, because they knew he was running away, because he told them that earlier. The sea was getting rougher and rougher, so they asked him, "What should we do to you to make the sea calm down for us?" "You need to pick me up and throw me into the sea," he replied, "and it will become calm. I know that it is my fault that this great storm has come upon you." Instead, the men did their best to row back to shore, but they just couldn't, because the sea grew even wilder than before. Then they cried out to the Lord, "Please, Lord, do not let us die for taking this man's life. Do not hold us accountable for killing an innocent man, for you, God. You have done as you pleased." And they took Jonah and threw him overboard. And immediately the raging sea grew calm. Well, at this, the other sailors were terrified, and they offered a sacrifice to the Lord and made vows to him. Now God provided a huge fish to swallow Jonah. And Jonah was in the belly of the fish for 3 days and 3 nights. Let's quickly highlight a few points from this story that you need to know. Jonah was a prophet. That's a mouthpiece of God. God had a message for his people. He used a person to go and be the messenger. And Jonah decided to disobey and run away, which was a terrible decision. So he hops in the boat, ends up endangering the lives of a whole bunch of people. They're absolutely terrified. But God keeps them safe, gets Jonah's attention, and gets him a safe place in the belly of a fish. Now, I feel like that would be a really uncomfortable place to stop the story, right? He gets swallowed by a fish, and what? And that's the end of chapter 1. It's probably really uncomfortable to be sitting in a fish for 3 days and 3 nights. Really gross. There's no sunlight, no food, unless you want to eat what the fish is eating, seaweed maybe some other fish decomposing, I don't know. Gross, really uncomfortable. How you sleep in the belly of a fish. It's just being really uncomfortable. So it's okay that we're ending at an uncomfortable spot, because Jonah is stuck in an uncomfortable spot too. But who else spent 3 days and 3 nights in an area with no sunlight and no food? Jesus, right? Jesus spent 3 days and 3 nights in the tomb. And every story in the Bible actually points back to God and to Jesus. It's the bigger story. So even though this story is from a prophet in the Old Testament, there are hints about God and Jesus all the way through it, and that's one of them. We're going to pick up the story next week, and so I really hope that you come back and join me. See you next week. We've got to find out what happens to Jonah. I can't imagine being in the belly of a fish. So gross. Gross.